it's a national day of mourning for at least half the country, right?
When I went to vote today, I went with my daughter, who's 22, and it was momentous.
I have a feeling I'm going to be kind of disappointed regardless of the result.
And so the question is, why is this election important to me?
Me personally, I am very undecided.
We've been very lazy, and we weren't paying attention to what was happening around us and what some people were doing.
For me, it's really a moment where of coming together.
I mean, we better get it right. I mean, it's just pure insanity if we don't get it right.
So, someone's going to be happy, someone's going to be sad, but it is what it is. As long as we have a peaceful transition of power.
And it was powerful. And she really wanted the I voted sticker, and they were out, which I felt like was a really good sign. So many people voted, they ran out of stickers. And that was, at 3:30 this afternoon, and they were out of stickers. So it was, as the mom of 2 daughters, a big day.
I kind of have a little bit of a diatribe because lots of people have been thinking about this election, right? And and also I just so happen to have been reading some Shakespeare lately. But what is the tragedy of Julius Caesar, right?
It's a moment. I mean, ironically, considering the usual talk is of division. Here we are monitoring the internet, looking at how far, who's got what, who in terms of the states, which one's tilting, how many, what percentage reporting in Georgia or in Pennsylvania or whatever, and it's actually it's a kind of unifying experience in this moment, even if people want different outcomes.
I really am not a fan of either of the major candidates.
I don't keep up as much as many other people could, so I would like to understand fully a perspective and decide before fully choosing. But I understand that it can be very, very difficult because I personally believe that we can't be divided into 2 parties. I believe that there is 2 different parties can't meet the needs of so many people.
It's definitely not what he is, because he's one person, very undesirable, but an undesirable person that's ignored is forgotten. So it's all about the millions and millions and millions that would say, that's who I want in the White House. That's the head shaker. It's not him. It's the followers. Yeah, it's the followers.
Shakespeare wrote Julius Caesar, and it's a story of this populist who rose to power in Rome.
I talked to other people that I know personally, and many of them haven't voted across aisles. And that's what I find disconcerting with a lot of voters. I feel like, they're either down ballot one way or the other, and that's what worries me.
Certain foreign policy activists, lobbyists, functionaries, whom I would describe as being the neocons, have kind of worked their way into both sides. I mean, you've got Nikki Haley on the one side supporting Trump, and I'm sure she's getting something for it. And then on the other side, you've got the Cheneys, who've now styled themselves as Democrats. And to me, fundamentally, one of the big things that I think is important is foreign policy and the country's stance towards war. And is there any fundamental difference between the 2 parties? I'm not sure.
Shakespeare goes to great lengths to portray this guy as this arrogant, self just completely filled with his own ego and his own aggrandizement and his own power. He's just naked grab for power. It's, he's not making any bones about it. Somehow or other, he's won this, popularity amongst some people who, for whatever reason, have glommed onto this leader.
I believe that not enough people have enough of a voice, if it's especially if it's an unpopular opinion. So I personally believe that not everyone is just getting their voice, and I think elections are super important in terms of those who govern our world and even our cities. So I would personally say that I am more independent.
But you did vote.
I have not voted. I don't vote. I don't vote. I never have voted.
Ultimately, I think we're a strong country, regardless of what happens in the outcome. I think we need to seek a middle ground, and we need to also speak towards the fringes on both sides.
It's so confusing that so many people feel differently. It's mind-blowing. And those people, they're not stupid. There can't be that many stupid people. They're believing something different. They're understanding. They're looking at a different reality than mine, and that's disturbing.
We're discovering neighbors and friends and people that are very different than some of us, the way they think. Everything that Trump is right now is pretty scary.
There's some things that we don't pay attention to because there's a bigger picture, and unfortunately we concentrate on those fringes more so than our commonalities, and that's really what brings us together.
At my stage of life, I have now soon-to-be adult children, and I'm much more concerned for their world. Like I think if I was back in the early 20s, I wouldn't care who was, in charge, who's at the reins of power, start a war, do something crazy, whatever, But now I feel much less that, I feel that there's more at stake than I cared about when I was younger.
And if we're lucky enough to win, I think we'll make great strides for this country.
I mean, this feels like so many things well in the category of things that are beyond my control. And I really try to spend my time and energy and love and heart and compassion in things that I can actually affect. And this feels well beyond that. So I voted, I care, I listen, I want to understand, and I can't live and die over it because tomorrow morning I'm going to be here and there's going to be real kids in real life that need my attention in this community.
I think thinking about the personal dimensions is important because, one does have to vote for self-interest at some point, right? Or do you? I don't know. That's a whole other discussion.
As a collective, as a bunch of organisms that are able to ostensibly make rational decisions, and it's actually, we don't really make great, consistent, rational decisions, and as individuals and both as a collective, and that's just how we are. We're really just basically, chimpanzees with no hair.